Up until this point, we've been discussing money in terms of hourly rates. And this, to me, will always be the most helpful metric when discussing what to charge. But the reality is that when it comes down to quoting for a freelance project, most clients expect an estimate for the project as a whole, not just an uncapped hourly rate. So sure, $50 an hour sounds great, but no client wants to get a surprise $10,000 bill at the end of a project that they don't know is going to take 200 hours. They want to agree upfront to how much money the project is going to cost and how long you expect to take on it. Unless the client changes the scope of the project, this total number won't change even if you end up taking longer than expected to deliver. So if you quote upfront for 40 hours of work and end up taking 60 hours because you underestimated your job, it's really bad practice to go back and ask for more money. As a freelancer, then, it becomes incredibly important to learn how to send accurate estimates. And to do that, you really have to sharpen your time management skills and get to know the patterns that occur within your job from project to project. When I first started out as an editor, I would grossly underestimate my projects, which ended up bad for both my clients and for myself. It was all until I had this one boss in a staff role who asked me to track my time throughout the week. At first, I hated her for it because I thought it was a waste of time. And, granted, she was a bit of a micromanager. But it ended up actually becoming one of the greatest lessons that I've ever learned on a job because it made me so aware of how my time was actually being spent. Starting at the beginning of my workday, I would keep a log in 15-minute increments. So Monday looked like an hour and 15 minutes looking for music, 2 hours of pulling selects, 45 minutes exploring color options, 15 minutes of answering emails, 30 minutes of exporting, 45-minute lunch break, 15 minutes answering emails, 1 hour meeting, etc., etc. Then Tuesday looked like something like 3 hours of editing revisions, 30 minutes exporting, 2 hours of sound design, 1 hour of meetings, 2 hours of editing. And by the end of that week, with similar patterns occurring day after day, I was able to see that half of my time as an editor was actually spent in meetings, answering emails, miscellaneous things that all added up. But I'd never realized up until that point how much of a project was spent with little tasks that eat up my time, even as necessary as they are. Back then, I would have estimated that the project I was working on would have taken 30 hours from start to finish. And that may have been true for the real sort of in-the-weeds editing work. But factor in all the essential other meetings, renders, communication, emails, uploads, etc., and those hours start adding up really quickly. That 30-hour project in reality would have been more like a 45-hour project. But fast forward to today, where I've learned how to really hone in my time management skills, I send estimates more accurately, which means that I get paid what I deserve and consistently understand how to create better buffer in my schedule for family needs, computer issues, new client meetings, and more. I know myself and my abilities well enough to estimate almost to the minute how long certain tasks or jobs will take, which also allows me to avoid burnout in a major way. All this to say, if you don't already track your time, I cannot recommend highly enough that you start now. When it comes time to start sending your project quotes, you'll know exactly how to accurately estimate. Now, of course, you're not going to put line items for all these things, 3 hours of rendering, 5 hours looking for music, etc. You're going to write 40 hours of editing. But those realities should all be factored into your job as an editor. I hope this video has helped create more clarity around the topic of sort of how to present your rates and how to track your time better. And if you have any questions at all, please reach out and let us know. Until next time, happy editing.